Hey, good afternoon, everybody. Yeah, last week we had some troubles getting a hold of Isaac. We just had a bad internet connection. So, what Isaac has done is he has recorded himself and sent me the video files. So, I am going to play that for you guys today so that you guys can meet Isaac and hear what he's all about. Right, so there we go.
I have a religious background. I grew up in a very religious family. My grandmother was Anglican. I remember we used to go to church every Sunday Sunday school. I remember most of the time. And my mother, she's a born-again Christian. I remember with my mother, I went a lot to these big churches where you don't have priests, you have prophets. Yes, I attended a lot of those mass where the preacher was a prophet, a lot of them as a kid. And growing up, I was also religious myself. I remember when I was in boarding school, I used to preach to other students. I was actually, I was a leader in our school. Every Sunday, we have groups of people who are worshiping from different types of churches, maybe Anglicans, Pentecostal, and Catholic. So, but by the time I was in boarding school, because at that time I was more close with my mother, so I wasn't Anglican. You could say I was also a born-again Christian. And I used to pray a lot. Every morning I remember every morning after 5 a.m. I used to pray. You could say I really used to believe there's a God. It was, well, but I remained religious until I was 17. That's when things started to change. So I remember when I was 17 in high school, I had a lot of questions. I started to, I think the thing which made me start to question a lot is I was interested in other religions. So, especially the Greeks. I loved the Greek mythology. I loved it a lot. And I was also interested in Hinduism. So when I started to look into other religions, so by that time, I was also listening to, I don't know if you've heard about this show. It's called The Atheist Experience, but by the host is Matt Dillon. It's a very good. I also started. It was that show, and as I said before, when I started to look on other religions like Hinduism, I think the biggest question which I started asking myself is, why is my God the true God and not their God? And if you look with on the history, you see Hinduism is a very ancient religion. I think their book Rig Veda is, I'm not sure, but I think it's 10,000 years BC. It's a very old book. I think the oldest book. So then I started questioning if they are the oldest religion, and Judaism and Christianity and Islam, all based on Abrahamic faith, they're not that old. Why is it that Christianity is the true religion and not Hinduism or Jainism, or Buddhism, or all any other religion? So that's all the most question which I started asking, but at that time I still had the fear of hell, so yes, it was pulling me away from questioning so much. But then I started listening to Atheist Experience and watching a lot of interviews with Sam Harris and Richard Dawkins. I think critical thinking is very important. Then it was by that time I started questioning a lot and realizing maybe I'm not thinking critical about these things. I think evidence is very important when it comes to the matter of supernatural beings. And people may not find them necessary, but religion is influencing a lot of. I think religion takes a lot of our life, and so not thinking critically might be a problem. There's a lot of things there are a lot of questions which I can not answer. So by that time, I became, I think, an agnostic. I was not sure. I could not say I did not believe in God completely. By that time, I was just saying, I don't know, maybe there is, of course, maybe there isn't. But by the time goes on, I started to reason, I started to do more research on a lot of and I think the most thought-provoking thing I had by that, I wrote this paradox of omniscience and the morality of the morality of God. I think, so this argument I think Sam Harris made, if God is everywhere, I saw was about omnipresence of God. If he's everywhere and he sees everything, why can't he stop it? And it made me answer the question: if I could take a place of God, and if I was in that position to see someone getting hurt, and I had the ability to help, but I choose not to, that makes me evil. I think that was the argument. That's made me think a lot, and I think by the time I was 18, that I was, you could say, completely an atheist. I was not. No, it's not like I was not sure anymore. It was just no. I'd say I did not believe, but I did not tell anyone. That was just kept it to myself by that time. And but after, when I became an atheist, you could say I became a little bit some kind of an activist, maybe. I think I'm very active online, especially Facebook and Twitter. There's a lot of things. Sometimes it's just, if especially in my country, it's mandatory to attend. When you're in school, it's mandatory to attend these religious events. It's I don't know. How do you call them? there's a particular time in school where I think it's in every Friday where all students are supposed to attend masses regarding their religion. It's mostly Islam and Christianity, and so it's mandatory. There are no atheists, and you cannot say I cannot attend. You have to. That's something that everyone has to attend. It's just so. Over the time, I became so. I'm most reactive in Facebook. There's this group called Atheists of Kenya, but I'm in Tanzania, so you can imagine. In Tanzania, it's very difficult to even to start this kind of activism, because there are not so many people even understand the word atheist. It's a very new concept. It's a very strange. People actually don't even can't actually comprehend that someone can just not believe in God. It's just something that's you seem like, I don't know. It's very odd. It's very strange for some. It's something that people find it. There isn't much time. People still have this fear of God. No one actually, but there are people who actually I've been in conversation with people, with friends. A lot of people who try to we will try to question about the religion. And my outlook toward human rights and promoting critical thinking. We could say I'm very passionate about that, and I've tried to be more active online. You see, I find critical thinking very important, because especially in my country, it's just there's a lot to be done. There are a lot of when it comes to human rights, that's a big problem, especially maybe when it comes to, for example, like the LGBT community. They're very, as I can say, it's not a very friendly place for someone who is LGBT. There isn't much of critical thinking. There's a lot of superstitious minds. These superstition mindsets. It's just, I don't know how to put this. It's chaos. And when it comes to critical thinking, the problem is if it's not even promoted in schools. I remember when I was in school, our history teacher was actually teaching us about evolution. The weirdest thing, the teacher himself, he said to students, he doesn't think evolution, he was actually promoting creationists views on the origin of man, and abandoning evolution. It's just, I can't even say. There's a problem here when it comes to critical thinking, and I think that's a very big problem, especially in my country. It's very. I'm trying my best to get in debates with people, in even just friendly talks with people, but I have to say it's very hard even to think even how to solve this kind of a problem. There is a very big problem here when it comes to human rights and critical thinking. It's just, as I say, it's hard to even explain it. The very problem starts in schools. Everything is influenced by religion. That's the point here. the idea of evolution, even evolution, when you go to school and you hear them, the way they teach evolution in school, they teach it just for the sake of exams, not for people to understand. Even the teacher himself does not even agree with evolution, and he is actually telling people, the students, no, this is wrong, this is just, I think what they would use most of the time is, it's like they see it like an attack on their culture. It's very weird actually. People think like things like atheism and when it comes to human rights, things like LGBT, they say it's not African, which is very weird, because when you think about Christianity, it's absolutely not African. But I don't know why African. It's hard. Now you can see what the problem is. Yeah, when it comes to critical thinking, there's a lot which has to be done here. A lot. When it comes to stand-up comedy, I've written a lot of jokes about religion, and to be honest, people don't. There are mixed reactions. There are people who actually laugh at jokes, and there's also actually think they are rude, maybe, and being offensive. They think, the majority of them think the jokes are offensive. Especially when you do a joke about Jesus. That's never actually. You might get few laughs, but sometimes may not go well. Yes, I remember I did this joke. On why. It was on why the Catholic Church think surrogacy is wrong or unnatural. Because when you think about it, it's not that much different from the birth of Jesus Christ. Yeah, that joke did not go quite well. Especially to older people, they did not take that well. Young people, they laugh at it. Some people think it's funny, but when you most jokes, actually religious jokes, don't go well in Tanzania. It doesn't go well. Yes, religion, it has had actually a very negative impact on my life. It took me a while to get lead of the fear of hell, and when the concept of hell is implanted in your head in a very young age, it can be quite difficult to get rid of it. It took me a while, but yes, now I no longer have that fear of hell. I don't actually afraid of hell. I just think it's an absurd concept. And I think the other thing which I think growing up, you see, in Tanzania, it's not an LGBT friendly country. So when you are young and you are religious, you tend to be very homophobic. Actually, there's so much hate implanted in your brain, and I remember I grew up with so much hate, but it's just, and to be honest, it's most of it was because of religion. And now looking backwards, and I just feel so wrong. Actually, it's very wrong actually to teach people, especially to teach kids, to plant this hate in their minds, and that's, I don't think. Yeah, there's so much bad impact than good. There are good things, but to be honest, it's just the most things I hate, because the very idea of religion is divides people. You know, that people will think they're better than others because they have accepted Christ. That people actually think they have this ticket to heaven, and they will see other people with contempt and disdain because they don't have the same beliefs. And yes, and that's, I think this, I could say the biggest impact is hate. There's so much hate and fear. Hate and fear. That's the biggest impact I've had. But not anymore. Not anymore. Looking back now, and if I had a chance to meet my younger self, I think I would have. It's very. I think if there was one thing I could actually advise him or convince him to do, actually, I think it would be to learn about critical thinking. I think that's the most crucial thing. I think it's very important for someone young, someone with a young mind to learn. I think critical thinking is very important. It's something which lacks especially in my society. In Tanzania, critical thinking is something which not a lot of young people have. That's why it's very easy for them to be brainwashed. I mean, it's very easy to them to be manipulated. I think if there is anything, I think the critical thinking is the only gifts I could give to young people. Special debates, and we can do special debates, and yes, I think critical thinking, that's the most important thing I would have introduced to. Not just I would have. I think it's something which I'm trying to, sometimes when I'm having conversation with young people, people who are in my age, and those who are much younger than me, I try to introduce them to question things. They should just question. They should not just live without questioning anything. They should not just accept things that they are. They have to question. There's something I'm trying. I've not done it too much. I think there's a very long road to go, but I think we'll reach there. I think there is still time, and I'm trying to do my best.
Yeah, amazing. That's why I said we have to speak to Isaac. It gives me so much hope to see young Africans thinking for themselves, thinking critically. And yeah, it was a great pleasure to introduce Isaac to you guys.